I believe the children are the future, and I'm just appalled. I really am. I am really appalled by what is on the radio, what is on the television, what is on the internet that is so accessible for children to see. And they don't need to be looking at that. They don't need to be they don't need to be listening to it. It doesn't need to be entering their systems whatsoever. When I was a little kid, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. I wasn't allowed to listen to the radio, first of all. My first CD, or no, let me erase that. My first tape, I'm 21 years old, and yes, I still have my first tape, was a Sesame Street tape about the alphabet and whatnot, and they all had their little song. My second tape was Vivaldi and Schubert, and I went to sleep to that. What a wonderful influence it had on me. Then my second one, when I was about 13, 12-ish, was the Backstreet Boys, and then a mix of 90s music. But that wasn't bad. That wasn't talking about banging somebody on the dance floor. Wasn't some little 12-year-old kid talking about, "Ooh, I love you. I don't think so. That's not acceptable." And then, as I'm taking care of these little kids or watching them or being out, first of all, them acting out like this, talking to their parents in no kind of way. When I was a child, if my mom said no, and then I was like, "Please, please, please," or "I hate you," I would have either got a shoe against my butt or a ring-encrusted hand against my face, or a palm on the back of my head, very hard, with a blunt force. And nobody would have called no cops on my mama or my daddy. I'm just saying. It's, don't let the cops scare you, parents. Your child start acting to beat them, and stop letting them watch all this stuff, because they don't need to be watching it. That's the problem. You got people like Miley Cyrus sitting there booty dancing. She ain't got no booty, first of all. And she ain't got no clothes on. And she's like, "I'm almost 18. Well, you know what? It's still not acceptable. Your audience is still 13 and under. Went to a little talent show, a little girl singing that song about the climb, and she was like in 4th grade. But so, there's that one song that was really good. Woo, thank you. You're talking about all this great stuff. Why can't the rest of your songs be that way? And why can't you show an example by going out on stage with some clothes on? You go out and you see little girls with like little booty shorts on, and you see the little boys walking around with their pants hanging down below their butt, and it's acceptable, and the parents are walking with them. And unless these children are finding a way to get money before the legal age of working, that I don't know about, I wish I had found out about, because I could have had me some money saved up, but who else is buying this stuff for them? And their parents are looking at them walk out the house this way. My mom dressed me, and then when I got old enough to dress myself, she still would look at me before I left the house. And if she didn't see me, she would call and be like, "What are you wearing?" Her reasoning was so that if something happened and the cops called and said, "What was she wearing?" then she would know. But really, it was to make sure I didn't walk around looking a hot mess and that I had some clothes on, and that I didn't look stupid. I'm just saying. I'm sorry that, unfortunately for you children today, that your examples are people like Miley Cyrus and Justin Bieber and some of these new little kids that decided that they can sing and stuff like that. But, shelter your children, please, please. I turned out wonderful, and my parents sheltered me. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm definitely not that. But I do know that half the stuff that I hear and see children under the age of 13 doing, I would have never thought of doing that. Saying the F-bomb like every 20 minutes in front of people that are older, and it's just kind of like, in my day, not that my day was that long ago, that was a bad word. It still kind of is. But I'm just saying, it was a bad word. It was like, a woo-woo, No one even says that anymore. I really wish I heard kids say that. Please, let's go back to the times of a woo-woo. A woo-woo, you said a bad word, prime example, let me give you a prime example of little kids, and parents need to tighten down the hatches on their children. Seriously. I don't mean Okay, don't take that as punch him in the face, beat him, But I mean, you have to smack him upside the head, hit him in the mouth. There's a yearbook on the elementary school kid. Well, it was elementary school, and it is elementary school here in my town. We have a very conservative town, well, to some degree. Anyway, it's a very conservative town, small town, and there's a yearbook, elementary, so this means like kindergarten to 5th grade. Okay, so those are the ages of like 6 to 10, yeah, 10, 11, and I'm pretty sure this kid was like in 2nd grade, so that makes him what, like 7.5? And they're taking the little pictures. You know how when you were a little kid, they did the yearbook, and the pictures where they have the group pictures, the candid shots where you're out in the playground swinging or climbing on the things. This kid was not happy like all the rest of the kids. He was flipping the finger. He was shooting a bird. He was like, F you. Really? Now, first of all, the fact that it was printed in a yearbook says somebody wasn't really paying attention in the school system. Second of all, who was taking the picture? Who was taking the picture? Was it a teacher? Because I'm pretty sure when you're in elementary school, students aren't going around taking the pictures. They have say of the pictures to some degree, but they're not going around taking the pictures. It's the adults that are going around taking the pictures. Third of all, where and why did the parents let this come through this kid's mind? And the fact that sometimes it's not always the parents' fault. Not all parents are horrible parents. Not saying that the ones who are seemingly horrible. Sometimes children are just crazy and they need some medicine and you just don't want to give it to them. But you gotta do stuff. You gotta beat them. You got to. I'm sorry. And then you have to, if you're not gonna beat them, at least shelter what they, have a monitor on what they watch and where they go, what they do, what they listen to, because the reason, my belief that the child did that, he thought it was okay to do that, although he didn't look too happy about it. He wasn't like, he was like, middle finger there. But part of it is half the stuff on television that is on the kids channels is not really meant for children. Half these movies that come on, and they're like, this is a PG movie. It really isn't. They're like, this is PG-13, and they say the F word like 8 times in the first 5 minutes of the movie. Your daycare, your church, definitely not. They cannot raise your children. You raise your children. Mothers, they came out of you. Fathers, they are a product because of you. You have to raise them. Only you. You can raise your children. Little children should know about loving somebody down on the dance floor.